Hi, friends. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whenever you're watching this, this is Doug from News and Views by Doug. And today is May 15th. And, we're right back to the Persian Gulf because that's what's going on. So, yesterday's video, I talked about how the Iranians had hijacked a cargo ship and basically has taken it back to Iran. So, a lot of things have come out about that. Now, right after I did the video, came to find out that Iran fired on and sunk a large cargo ship that was carrying animals, basically, probably sheep, cattle, things like that, goats. But it was an Indian ship, and let me get the name correctly on here. So the ship was the Indian flagged Haji Ali, and it was attacked off the coast of Oman. And it was reportedly attacked by an Iranian cruise missile or a drone, and it caused a fire that eventually sank the vessel. And all 14 crew members were rescued by the Omani Coast Guard. So, why? It wasn't even close to the Straits of Hormuz when it was hit. So it wasn't basically involved in the conflict. Now, the funniest part of this whole, where the Iranian commandos hijacked a ship, the ship was a Honduras flagged freighter that was basically owned by a Chinese private security company, and the ship was basically a floating armory. Now, the weapons were supposedly for anti-piracy around the peninsula of Saudi Arabia and down to Somalia. But the ship was anchored off of the UAE, and supposedly the crew was down below and either using the restroom or eating when the Iranian commandos came on board and took the ship. Well, the ship is full of weapons. We don't know what kind of weapons. You think of its security, you're thinking, okay, it's rifles, ammo, pistol, but who knows what's really on board. And it's just funny that, yesterday President Trump was visiting President Xi in China, and China basically said, yeah, Iran should not have nuclear weapons, and we're not going to supply them with weapons any longer. Really? And all of a sudden, a Chinese ship, again, Honduras flagged, but owned by a Chinese security company, suddenly their ship is confiscated by the Iranians? And my question is, when the ship was found to have been kidnapped or hijacked, why didn't the U.S. Navy go and stop it? Why wasn't it sunk? So, I'm sorry, I don't trust the communist Chinese at all. I don't trust the Russians. Hell, I don't even trust some of our own people. So something else that's come up is that the head of the CIA, John Ratcliffe, is in Cuba right now, and he's having talks with the grandson of Raul Castro. And I think he's basically saying, hey, Cuba, you've got no oil, your economy sucks, you've got no income, your people are starving, and life is not good. And why don't you just surrender before we come in with our military? And I bet he's pointing to what happened in January with Venezuela, saying, hey, look, we flew into Venezuela, we landed at one of your military bases, and we took Maduro. And we killed a whole bunch of Cubans that were protecting him. And supposedly we didn't have any losses. Do you want it to happen here? Pretty sure that's what they're saying. Also, the Department of Justice has basically said that they're going to indict Raul Castro, the former president, who took over for Fidel. And they're charging him with some kind of crime where a humanitarian plane had been shot down and the Cubans knew it was humanitarian, but they still shot it down. So they're going to charge Raul with this crime if they can get a hold of him. So here it is. We're going into Cuba now. Why don't we just take out Iran first? One at a time. Uh, War's never good. I don't want to see our people killed, but there's reasons to have a war at times. And to me, Iran should be the first place that we put an end to that regime and their ayatollahs. And then let's look at Cuba and, hey, folks, need to watch out for North Korea still. They're still a big danger, and they've got nuclear weapons. So, I don't know. That's my opinion. What's yours? Please like the video, subscribe, please. It always helps the channel continue to grow. And, I'm never going to lie to you. I'm going to give you my opinion and my observations and just tell you what I think and then listen to you. Folks, please again, be safe and just stay away from trouble, I guess. Take care.